Alright guys, a stream is starting up tonight. Wanted to do one special for you guys, mainly because there's a lot to talk about because of the storm. Hopefully uh, you guys know what's going on. I want to talk a little bit about what's going on. About 5 minutes before the stream really kicks into place. Again, I want to do kind of a special stream, talk about all that cool stuff, some stuff that's going on right now with me, and drink for tonight. We're doing some old school Mountain Dew Code Red. Code Red. Again, not sponsored by Mountain Dew. I'd love to take their money. If they want to sponsor my channel, I would love for that to happen. So we should see what happens here. Hopefully you guys will get some email alerts. Let me take a look at the thumbnail. Make sure it looks kosher at least before I have to make some adjustments to it. I'm going to take a look here. Hold on. Boom. 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 Let's take a look here. See how it looks. And it looks good. The thumbnail looks very, very good. I'm very happy with that. So, I'll get some time for people to hopefully get into the chat tonight. If you guys want to come in, absolutely head into the video on demand. Actually, after this goes up, the video on demand would be, of course, when the stream ends. We're talking a little bit about what's going on in Florida. If you guys are living under a rock, we'll talk about that shortly at the top of the hour. I'm going to probably do maybe a 30-minute stream tonight, I'm thinking. I was thinking about doing this stream about a day ago, and a couple days ago rather, and I kind of got sidetracked with this whole storm and a lot going on with me. Unfortunately, you may have heard that, or if you did hear, excuse me, I had a family member that was sick in the hospital. Unfortunately, that family member has passed away. It was rather sudden. The person was in the hospital for about a week, and they did pass on. I haven't had a death in the family for some time now, and I'm dealing with it rather well as you could possibly really think. But it was kind of sad what happened. The person had a heart attack, and it hit literally very, very quickly, very fast, and it was rather unfortunate. Hopefully you guys come into the stream tonight. If you don't, that's fine. You can watch this on the video on demand. Hopefully we'll have a couple people in the stream. I would like that, but if that doesn't happen, that's fine. I will talk to myself, no problem. Hey, Commander Cody, thanks for coming into the chat tonight. No worries, my friend. These streams are very sporadic. I don't do them all a lot right now, mainly because I've made some adjustments with the channel, and I talked about that at length. Mainly because the stream I think was hurting the channel as a whole, which is what the channel was really built on, which was reviewing, unboxing, toy hunting, statue breakdowns, Funko reviews, action figure reviews, that sort of thing. And the streaming I think kind of hurt the channel as a whole. But all things considered, I still use it from time to time when I want to put some content out, mainly possibly because content I wanted to do I can't do for whatever reason, or I was in the process of doing something, it got turned sideways, and I need to put something else out. Usually my stream is a go-to as sort of a clutch I will use in that sort of avenue. Some things are going on, as I mentioned, you just jumped in. I had a family member who passed away a few days ago, going through kind of like a bereavement thing, doing it from work. That normally happens when you have a family member passes on. Took some time off of work. Going back in a few days after the storm passes, which we'll talk about the storm shortly. Let's talk about that. First, before I go any further, let's talk about recent pickups. I ordered something on the Funko store, which I wanted to get my hands on. As I've mentioned before in many, many videos, I'm a big Scooby-Doo fan, and the Scrappy-Doo pop went up for Funko. Limited edition. It sold out, I think, in about 2 minutes. My girl was in the Funko website trying to get one for herself. Just because I jumped in very, very quickly, I remembered the stuff went up on that particular day for Scrappy-Doo. There's a side shot of him. He's kind of in a fighting pose. This will probably be the review, hopefully this week, provided I can put a video out this week, depending on the storm, which we'll talk about shortly. But I picked this guy up. Limited edition, about, like I said, he sold out in approximately 2 to 3 minutes from what I've heard. They were already being pre-sold on eBay between I think the cheapest I saw was $35 up to about $80 on eBay. That people were scalping and flipping these. I believe they were one per person, but she had it in her cart. She had to flip it, try to get her card in place, and it was one of those deals when you had it in your cart and it sold out before she can submit the order. So I was able to get my hands luckily on one of these. So that's what I care about. So that made me happy getting that into my collection. Hey, Jackie, thanks for coming in to chat tonight. The other item I got was a early birthday gift. My birthday is approximately 2 weeks. And if you guys want to send me anything, you're more than welcome to. You can hit me up at the P.O. Box. It's, of course, in the always on the About channel portion. It's always in the stream notes. If you guys want to send me something for a birthday gift, you're more than welcome to. You do not have to do that. It'd be cool if you guys did. As I mentioned before, anything you guys send to me, if you want to keep it off the channel, let me know. If you want me to review it, I will review it. If you want me to review something and return it to you, let me know that as well. I've talked about that many, many times. Now, my girl decided to pick me up an item. Got an itch right here. Sorry about that. She picked me up an item for her birthday, and she knew that I was a old school Transformer fan. I've talked about it in many, many videos, many, many streams. When I first broke into Transformers when I was a much younger kid, back in the late 80s, there was two Transformers that I owned. That I was actually technically three Transformers I owned that I was able to get my hands on. They've always been my favorite Transformers growing up. That was, of course, Cliffjumper, Skywarp, the Seeker, the purple and black jet, and of course Blue Streak. Those are the three characters that I grew up with when I got into Transformers. Those are the Transformers that I either got from my family members, I got them from friends, whatever the case may be. Those are the three Transformers that I had in my collection. My family was not the most wealthy family. Back then, Transformers weren't super expensive. The little Cliffjumper, the little red, the small mini bot Cliffjumper, I think was maybe $3.99, maybe $2.99, $3.99 back in that day. A Legend class, or actually a Deluxe class, which was the original Skywarp jet, the original G1 jet, I think was like $7.99, $9.99, something along those lines. But of course, with inflation now, it's changed the price drastically. I would say dynamically, but drastically. So my girl knew about some of my characters that I grew up with, and she went on some message boards, unbeknownst to me, and she picked me up an early birthday gift. She gave it to me today. It is a Takara Tomy original Blue Streak in the blue and silver color scheme. Now, this particular Transformer, this is a Masterpiece Transformer. If you're not familiar with Masterpieces are usually much more in demand. They're harder to get your hands on, especially the Takara Tomy one. This is the Japanese version. If you've never seen a Japanese Masterpiece, it's all in Japanese. The Takara Tomy, all the information. Hasbro, of course, owns a license to Transformers, and they made a release of this, but not in this color scheme. They made a normal color scheme, which is his normal, I would say, his cartoon accurate color scheme, which is the black and gray, and he's not named Blue Streak, he's named just Streak. Awesome, dude. I do know about the Daleks as far as Doctor Who goes. I'm not a big Doctor Who fan in any stretch of the imagination. I know that they're the kind of robotic creatures with the big gun barrel that comes out and they go exterminate, exterminate. That's all I really know about the Daleks. I'm sort of like that useless well of knowledge. I know little bits of everything. I'm not a master of anything by any stretch of imaginations, but I know a little bit of everything. But according to this one, as far as this guy goes, they lost, I believe, either the rights to the color scheme or the name. I think they lost the name to Blue Streak because I think they were in some type of court battle with, I think, the Martin Short Blue Streak movie that came out many years ago. I think that's the reason why, or it could have been the reason why they lost the license. I could be wrong. I could be completely going off left field about it, but I heard that's kind of what happened. They lost the license and lost the ability of doing this color scheme. That's why if you look at the normal Silver Streak car, it would look sort of like this one right in this corner, right there. That's Streak himself. when they lost the license. That was more the cartoon accurate one. That was the Hasbro version of the Blue Streak character named now Streak, all capital. I think it's STREAK, all capital letters. Um, it is a rather cool piece. I have not yet transformed it. I've looked at it, but I've not yet even really taken it out of the packaging. As you notice here, it's sealed still in the packaging right here. He does come with his tech spec and his transformation information. He's a Nissan, I believe he was a Nissan Fairlady 280ZT. That's what he's known as. And this is kind of what it would look like when you take it out of the packaging. Now, I believe if you go to more prominent YouTubers who do like their entire channel is based off of Transformer reviews and unboxing videos. I'm not that guy. I've said it before many, many times. It will probably take me 30 to 45 minutes to transform this character, this guy here, into his robot form. I suck at Transformers in any stretch of the imagination. I can't put them in configurations properly. I'll goof it up. I'll do something incorrect. But I'm not that guy. But as far as the way this guy looks, he looks very, very cool. As I mentioned, he's one of the characters I loved. Now, they do have add-on kits. You can go to a third-party company for, let's say, these weapon, the gun you see here and the two rocket packs, missile launchers right here. They have them in, like, all straight chrome. So you can get them as a full chrome-based add-on pack, which is very, very cool. I'll kind of take it out here so you can see what it looks like. If you've never seen a Masterpiece character before, they are very, very cool, and they're extremely expensive. I think she spent over $100 for this set, but it's very, very good. As you can see right here, it is... You know, it's very, very close to the old Nissan car. Again, we're talking late 80s, or actually mid 80s is when Transformers came out. And of course, this was based off the Diaclone series back in Japan, which was some of the lines that if you look at Transformers, many of the lines, you'll see characters that are jets and cars and other sort of characters. Guns, cameras, tape decks. That's part of the Diaclone series, which is not really part of Transformers. They took two different licenses and kind of merged them together to make the Transformers brand. That's why you see people like with guns and, let's mention, cameras and boom boxes. They were part of a different line, not really Transformers. They had jets and cars and things like that, and they took the other line and merged it together to make the whole Transformer property. That's the sort of idea. Let me take a swing back real quick here with some Mountain Dew Code Red. But she picked this guy up for me, and eventually I will transform him. I'm not going to do it on camera. It will take me way too long to try to transform it. Also, Masterpieces are really, really detailed when it comes to their transformations. They have a lot more steps than your normal traditional Transformers. Let's say a Transformer might have, let's say, 10 to 12 steps. There might be 20, 24 steps to do something like that for these guys. Do you hear about the re-release of the Radio Shack's Galaxy Man Shockwave? You might be talking about Shock Blaster, possibly. I do know what you're talking about. Even Soundwave, I think it was called Shockwave. It was not Soundwave, but there was a dark blue version, a dark gray version of Soundwave as well. I know what you're talking about. They had another version of Shockwave, but there might have been like a... I know they had the Radio Shack one. I know exactly what you're talking about. I had that gun as a kid. What do you think of All Out? Yep, I'm going to talk about All Out in a second, CCW. Absolutely. That's one of the things I will be talking about. A couple other notes to turn back here. Again, very, very cool thing for Masterpiece. I do like it. Eventually I will transform this guy, but I will not do it right now because I will suck at it. Also, I helped my girl this weekend. We broke down her apartment to move into her new place, and that's where I'm going to be moving into in a few months. So this whole backdrop that you see here and the studio is going to be completely turned around and be moving into a brand new apartment. We're breaking my entire apartment down, and we're going to put her place and my place together. My studio is going to be a little bit smaller, and the setup that you see here will probably be in the living room in the new apartment about the end of November. I'm going to be breaking the studio down in pieces. That will be happening. It's a work in progress, so we are going to be breaking it down going forward. But it was a long, long weekend. You might have saw some pictures I put on the Facebook group and on Twitter. I had an ice pack on my knee. I jacked it coming off of a kind of a step when I was renting a U-Haul, and I jacked my knee pretty hard. So it was very hard for me to try to even unbox anything or help her pack, or actually help her unpack or move, because it hurt my knee really, really badly. It wasn't like I had to go to the doctor or hospital. It just I strained it pretty bad. Now, moving on. Hurricane Dorian. If you're living under a rock, you may not be knowing what's going on. There is a vicious, very devastating Cat 5 hurricane off the coast right now of Florida, picking up speed. It has not yet hit Florida. From what I've heard, it's not going to hit Florida directly. It's going to hook further north, at least from all the models they say are going to be happening right now. I'm hopefully that is true. I don't know. I have moved everything away from my windows. I even broke a piece of my statue of my Green Lantern premium format figure. The big green boxing glove, unfortunately, I laid it on the ground earlier tonight, and the crystal piece that comes off of the boxing glove, the long, slender piece, snapped at the end. So I'm going to try to glue that, hopefully. I was not a happy camper in any stretch of the imagination. I was trying to protect it. Inadvertently, I broke pieces of it. So that does not make me a happy camper in any stretch of the imagination right now. That being said, in case I lose power, in case I'm not able to put any content up for a few days, hence me doing this impromptu stream tonight, is a very devastating hurricane. It already wrecked the Bahamas. We're talking 185-mile-an-hour winds. It is a very dangerous Cat 5 storm. If I have any viewers or subscribers who are watching this stream, please, please, please make sure you're safe. Make sure you're with your loved ones. I'm staying here. My girl's staying at her apartment. We're staying away right now only because I have a cat that is diabetic and is extremely difficult to travel with her to a location. She gets extremely panic stricken. She thinks she's going to the vet, and she always pees and poops in her box, in her litter, in her carry case, and it's very, very bad. She is diabetic, which means her urine is extremely volatile. It's extremely smelly because that's when you have diabetes. It's very acidic based urine. I hate to gross people out, but that's kind of what happens. Yes, pets can become diabetic if you're not familiar with that. I give her injections twice a day. I've talked about this before for the last, I want to say, 8 years. I've been dealing with this for her. So she gets 2 injections every day, one in the morning, one at night. But yeah, so want to make all my viewers and subscribers please stay safe. I'm going to be buckled down here when the storm hits sometime tomorrow. I will check in on the Facebook groups. I will let everybody know on Twitter and on my Facebook group how everything's going. Again, the main reason why I'm shooting this stream tonight for you guys, in case I can't put any content out during the week, because the main intent I wanted to do was this guy's video review. So that may or may not happen. It all depends on what's going on. If I have power or not, I don't know yet. I hope so. CCW fan, you were at the show. Very, very cool, my friend. What did I think of it? I watched it on, let's just say, less than scruple means. I didn't want to spend $50 for a pay-per-view. I found a way to watch the pay-per-view. I watched it live, or as live as you can possibly get. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good show. The buy-in was okay. Nyla Rose winning was cool. We had the Jurassic Express against, I believe, SCU. No, that wasn't on the buy-in. I can't remember what the other buy-in event was. No, it was Angelico and Jack Evans against. Who were they against? I'm drawing a blank on the name of the team. Private Party. Against Private Party. Not bad. It was a pretty good match. SCU against Jurassic Express was pretty good. Putting Omega and Pac that close to the beginning of the show, I had me doing this. I had me scratching my head. Why they wanted to put that match right after the first match, I didn't understand that. I would have put SCU and Jurassic Express further from the card up, further down, and put more Jericho, more of Omega and Pac further up the card. Vicious hold at a vicious match, hard hitting, very strong style. Omega with the V triggers, I absolutely love it. I've said before, I love V triggers. I love Omega. I've talked about it a long time ago. He is the best bout machine. He's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Him and probably AJ Styles. Those are two of my absolute favorite wrestlers. Highly recommend watching. If you've never watched Omega's match, watch the three bouts with Okada. You'll understand why he is probably one of the best wrestlers in the world. He's kind of in a losing slump right now. I don't know why they're booking Omega this way. I can't tell you the reasons why. I'm not sure why he's going in this direction. Maybe he wants to put new talent over. Maybe he wants to take a step back and be more of an executive and not much more of a wrestler. I don't know what goes on in his head. I can't tell you what he's doing or how he's booking his matches. So I'm not 100% sure why it went down that way. Having Moxley pull out because of the staph infection sucks. I can understand why they did it, but it just stinks. Yeah, I am as well, Commander Cody. I think I like the Rise of the Skywalker trailer. The stuff with Dark Ray, I think, is a homage to the Forced vision that Luke had in the cave in Empire in Dagobah. I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think Ray, quote unquote, goes to the dark side. I don't think that's what's going to be happening here. The Mandalorian trailer looked very, very good. I like the way it looks. You have John Favreau, I believe it was, who did the original Iron Man movie. He, I think, is either producing it or directing either the full series or a couple of the episodes. I'm not entirely sure how it's going to work, but it does look very, very good. I'm very, very happy about that myself. But Omega and go back to All Out Omega and Pac, good match. The Brutalizer looked nasty, nasty hold. I liked the Bucks and Ray Phoenix and Pentagon. Great match. And Jericho and Hangman was good. I knew Jericho needed a belt. It was the right choice to put the belt on Jericho. It should have been that way. I think all in all, it was a great show. I highly recommend watching it. It was a great show leading up till their TNT debut on sometime is on Wednesdays. I think the beginning of October, I believe it is. I don't have TNT at my apartment here. Probably have to watch it on another way to stream the app. I have an app that allows me to stream TV shows, so I'll probably be streaming that show after it has aired, most likely, because it won't be available that day. I'll have to watch it probably a day behind or so to watch the first episode of AEW. So I will be watching it, just not probably that night. Going back to the new Star Wars, I do think it's going to be very, very good. One of the other main reasons I wanted to do the stream tonight, besides the hurricane, besides what I picked up, besides what my girl got me, was the news between the Sony license loss with the Marvel deal with Spider-Man. I was going to do a full stream about this. I'll kind of talk briefly about it. I can see why Sony got mad and backed out of it. You have to understand it from Sony's perspective, where originally the deal with Marvel and Sony was that Sony would let Marvel get 5% of the first day box office gross. And they basically got about $50 million. But also Marvel retained all the rights to the merchandising. Sony didn't get any of that at all. Sony got all the other monies, but didn't get any merch, and they got 5% of the box office from Marvel. Marvel wanted to renegotiate their contract with 2 movies left. I believe Tom Holland and the Spider-Man license and the properties for it. I think it was a 7-movie deal. We have, of course, Civil War, both Avengers movies. You have both Spider-Man movies. So that means there's 5 movies that Tom Holland / Spider-Man has done. And they wanted to renegotiate stuff. They wanted, I think, originally a 60-40 split. Then Marvel wanted even more money. They wanted 50-50. And I was watching another YouTuber talk about this. And you have to imagine it sort of like this. You work at a job, and this is their example. It's a great example. You work at a job right now, and you get paid, let's say, $100 a week for your work. Let's say now that some guy, some dork comes in, and he's going to work with you, but you're going to have to give that guy half of your paycheck. What would you do right now? The guy doesn't really help you out a whole lot, but he wants half of your money. What would you do if you were Sony? You would say, hell no, no, go away. And they did this not at the end of the contract. They did this when the contract was still going on. They wanted to renegotiate this with 2 movies still left in the pipe. So that to me is just horrible by Marvel's standards. And what even makes it worse for both even Marvel and Sony, again, this is coming from a source. This is coming from, if you can look it up, I didn't pull the link up here because I want to kind of shoot this from the hip real quick. Stan Lee's daughter kind of went on a tirade where she basically blasted both Sony and Marvel for what they've done to Stan's work, mainly because everyone's fighting over this property, and this is not what Stan really wanted. And when Stan passed away, not anyone from Marvel, not anyone from Sony reached out to Stan Lee's daughter for condolences. That's what she said. Now, is this 100% factual? I'm assuming it is because that's what she said. It would suck if that's true, where no one from Marvel or no one from Sony reached out to Stan Lee's, surviving family and said, hey, we're sorry for your losses, so forth and so on. It would suck if that happened that way, but it's kind of bad for both studios. But as far as Sony goes, for this whole deal, I don't know why they went down this road. I can't tell you, with 2 movies left in the pipe, why they want to renegotiate. They want even more money. I believe the new Spider-Man movie made, I think, $1 billion in the box office. And now Marvel is even greedier than ever with Disney and wants even more pieces of that pie. They want all of it. I mean, they got the rights to the Marvel properties and all the comics, and they got the back-end merch. You have to also understand, we'll talk to Commander Cody about this if he's still in the chat. When you look at Lucas's claim to fame and his rise to glory, he didn't make all his real money in the box office. He's talked about this at length. The money in the box office was okay. He made his fortune. He made all his money off the merchandising, the action figure licensing, the branding. That's how he made his living and his fortune, and how he came to riches was from the merchandising, because the studios at that time didn't believe the merchandising, the action figures, the branding, taking the name of Star Wars and putting it on stuff would make any money at all. So that's kind of how Lucas made his fortune. And that's what now Marvel did that with the Spider-Man property, and it's lucrative. They're cashing in all that money, and they want even more of it. And that's part of the reason why I'm not a big fan of Marvel. I'm not a big fan of Disney. I do love the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Don't get me wrong. I love their movies. But they're just bastardizing the rights to these properties and to these stories, and it's not right. And they're dragging Sony across the coals right now to do this. Now, if my viewers and subscribers don't know, the reason why, if you look at a lot of Marvel's properties, and they're all over the place, some had with Fox, some had with Sony, some had with Disney. You have to understand, back in I think it was the late 80s, early 90s, when the comic book bubble was breaking, and Marvel was in dire straits and dire needs of cash reserves. They were going to file bankruptcy again. So what they decided to do was sell a lot of their branding and their properties and their titles and their IPs off to companies in the studios, the movie studios. Fox bought a piece of it, which at that time was the Fantastic Four and the X-Men properties, anything associated with that. Sony bought the rights to Spider-Man. Then, of course, Marvel and Disney came to terms, and Disney purchased the entire Marvel brand, everything associated with it, and everything basically left. Marvel absorbed Disney absorbed the Marvel property and the branding. That's kind of what happened, if you're not familiar. That's why it's kind of disjointed through all of these movie houses, because they all own different rights and different properties, different titles. That's what happened back in a day. And I was originally going to do this whole bit of a stream back a few weeks ago when this whole thing was happening. Is this still a done deal? Is Sony and Marvel gone? Have they burnt that bridge? Has basically literally Marvel and Disney decided, hey, we only made $50 million. We want even more money. The money is going to come. They make it off the back end merchandising. Sony doesn't get a dime of that. Not a dime. Not a dime. They couldn't draw a dime. So it's unfortunate what's happening right now. I really wish that wouldn't happen. All you're doing is hurting and alienating fans. That's what it hurts more than anything. If you're a big Spider-Man fan, you're probably pissed off and mad. But you can't be really mad at Sony here. This is not Sony's fault. I hate to stand up for a big movie publishing house about this, but you can understand why they're pissed off. Where they want even more money. They want to take more from what they have. I think from what I've heard, the Spider-Man property was one of Sony's biggest box office hits right now, and they're trying to take that. Marvel's trying to take that away from them, or Disney. When I say Disney slash Marvel's trying to take that away from them, and it's not right and it's wrong. Again, it sounds like a broken record. Disney makes all the money off the back end merchandising. Sony doesn't make anything. All the action figures rights, all the property, that all goes to Marvel and Disney, not for Sony. At least from what I've heard. Now, my facts could be skewed and incorrect, but that's what I've heard. I've checked a couple different sites, and that's what I've heard. I saw other YouTubers talking about this as well. So it's pretty reputable what I'm talking about right now. It is unfortunate that happens. Where again, they had 2 movies left to make this change and make this shift happen. That was wrong. It's not right. But again, guys, I want to make sure everybody's okay. Kind of switching gears again. As far as the hurricane goes, be safe. Again, if I lose power, hopefully I don't. Hopefully the storm is going to start hooking north. That's what it's been projected at. It's moving very, very slow. I think it's like 5 miles per hour. I believe there's a 9 o'clock advisory. I've started to do the stream, so I don't know what the 9 o'clock advisory is all about. So I hope everybody stays okay, stays safe. Again, I want to thank everybody who came into the stream tonight. Again, it was an impromptu stream. You'll see these happen from time to time. Make sure you have the notifications checked for your emails. If you click the bell icon on my channel, if you click on it, it'll be noted. A little check box will come up for email notification. You'll get stuff for streams, new content when that happens. You'll be notified of emails for that stuff. Yeah, very, very little. Absolutely, Cody. And Lucasfilms now doesn't get a whole lot of anything. Because remember, Lucasfilms, all the Lucasfilms property, when Lucas sold the rights to Marvel, he sold it for $4 billion. For B, with a B. For everything. That means his sound system, for Lucas Arts, Lucasfilms, the entire cadre, the whole IP of Star Wars, Lucas sold. And it's a bittersweet thing of why he sold it. He can't take it with it if he dies. And I can see why he did that. You think it's a huge chunk of money. And to a normal person, it sounds a god-awful amount of money. But if you really think about it, one Star Wars movie, if you think about it, would make probably $1 billion anyway. He's put out, how many Star Wars movies they put out right now? 3? You have 7, 8, 9 coming out now. Close to $1 billion each. They've already made their money back, plus the back end rights to all the merchandising. Disney and Marvel just rake that money in. I mean, it is just a money making machine right now, and they're just it doesn't make sense right now where they think they're getting screwed. That's called mismanagement. That's called not using your assets properly. That's not getting the right people in the right positions to do those things properly. They don't have like a Kevin Feige to oversee how this stuff works. You have different directors trying to do things for their vision. I hated the Last Jedi. I thought it was a horrible movie. I almost walked out of that movie. I thought it was disgusting. What they did in that movie was a disgrace to the Lucas name and Lucas property, all things considered. It was the worst movie with the Star Wars brand and naming ever created, in my honest opinion. It was a guy trying to take his vision in a different direction that did not match with J.J. Abrams' original groundwork he set in place for The Force Awakens, for this new batch of Star Wars movies. It was absolutely horrendous what they did. It is a disgrace to the Star Wars name and property. But I want to thank everybody who came into the stream tonight. Again, it was only a 30-minute stream. I wanted to make sure everybody who are my viewers, subscribers in the Florida area, who you're listening to this stream, you might be listening on video on demand, please stay safe. I'm going to be cutting the stream now, guys. I'm going to be hunkering down for a little bit as I'm getting ready for this storm to come in. Take care, guys. I'm cutting the stream in 3, 2, 1. Take care, guys. Night-night, and bye-bye.